So I did the book What the Eyes Don't See. I did a lot of small notes with my annotations. For this one, this chapter was a lot by like her family history and like everything that she's been through and things that go with that. And then I did a lot of like highlighting like stuff about her and like background of her, a lot of job losses that happened. And then the next chapter, this one, like right here, poverty rate is nearly doubled, and this is talking about like the whole Flint situation. A good question that I highlighted in here is, how can your eyes see something? He says that your mind doesn't know. A lot of the stuff has to do with like what the eyes don't see in this book. This chapter, I kind of just did like a summary of this. Talks a lot about poverty, race, how their water crisis started. Great Lakes region in Flint is a huge water source for them. I did a lot of small little highlights right here. Dark-haired, brown skin, little girl, ethnicity has to do with it. Right here, another big question. What are you hearing about the Flint water? A lot of this chapter had to do with race, family history, inequality, and stuff like that, which a lot of this book has to do with like the Flint water crisis, and it ties back a lot to race and stuff. A lot of these right here, questions, testing, like a lot of the people in this book, like they'll have a lot of like people test the water, but a lot of the state and government don't see the effects of the lead that's in the water. Politics and the behavior, this has a lot to do with the book too. For this chapter, I kind of wrote down like it has to do with the DC water crisis, not doing sampling right, the lead exposure. This kind of talks about race, stuff that has to do with like the water crisis, like people's opinions, making choices for others, and stuff like that. Family history, background on Hai, which is a guy that's part of it. The red flags, which is a lot to do with like birth effects, the lead poisoning, and stuff like that. There was a lot of good things in this chapter that I highlighted. The use resource for other crises. They tried to use the DC crisis water stuff to help the Flint crisis as much as they could. And then at the end of this chapter, it had a lot to do with water helps the body, the effects lead has on the body. A lot of this has to do with like birth effect and things that had to do with children. The first encounters of the lead, they based a lot of this off like the people that were in it. This page, I highlighted a lot of good quotes and stuff. Here's another question. How can lead in the water not be under the jurisdiction of the health department? A lot of that has to do with that, like health department, the history and everything. And the author does a very good job on explaining like all of her research and things that come with her research. A lot of this book has to do with her research and the people she meets to get more research, which was a very good book so far. I'm almost done with it, and I have a lot of annotations that go with it, which I find this book very interesting for someone that is trying to figure out the Flint crisis.